Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Um, this is the series where I talk about some of the questions and areas I've thought about in my journey as an entrepreneur. So if any of you guys resonate with what I'm saying, let me know in the comments. So today I wanted to talk about the aspect of work-life balance. That's a fairly big topic in recent years, which is gaining a lot of attention around, separating your work and your life and, dedicating time for everything. Work is not the end all and be all, etc., etc., right? You get the point. So I think this is a fairly, it's a fairly, I want to say, multifaceted topic, but, here are my thoughts on work-life balance, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship and those kind of aspects. So if I was to summarize my thoughts, what I would say is, if you're an entrepreneur, especially an early entrepreneur, first-time entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, stuff like that, I don't think work-life balance should be even on your list of things to think about, because sometimes and a lot of times actually entrepreneurship and business is a game of iteration, and iteration takes time. Now if you're someone who is highly focused on work-life balance, but you're an entrepreneur, you want to work normal hours, 9 to 5, etc., etc., like, your rate of iteration is just slow. It's just slower than your competition, slower than anyone else. Like, that's like doing this shit seriously. So your progress is going to be slow. And not to mention, as an entrepreneur, things happen, situations unfold, you have to react, do things, and all of that usually doesn't fall into a 9 to 5 timeline. It doesn't fall into a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 timeline. Like, things can happen at any time, you need to do stuff at any time. So that's my thoughts on that for entrepreneurship. Let's get on to work-life balance in a let's say an employment setting, like as someone who has a job, for example. So I think if you're in that type of situation, you have options, I guess. You have the option of maintaining a work-to-life balance. Now this depends on type of profession you're in, your company culture, stuff like that. I've worked in places where people used to have their lunch at their desks while they were working. So it depends. It highly depends. But let's say you have the option, right? If you have the option to maintain that type of work culture, then and it's a priority to you, that's fine. To be honest, like, you go for it. But what I would say on that is, if you are someone who is in a company and looking to move up, let's say, go to progress up the ranks, then this type of work-life balance is going to hold you back for sure. Like, there are people who even in a corporate setting don't follow work-life balance. So these guys are just gonna outcompete you. They can get more done, take less amount of time, they can get things moving just because they're not restricted on that time, you know. So they're just gonna outcompete you. So even in that setting, I guess, if you're ambitious and your goal is to move up, again, I think work-life balance is gonna be a hindrance to you. Now, what about like a hybrid setting? So if we put work-life balance to someone who has a job and a business, it just doesn't work. You know, like how you can't have balance if you have employment but you also have a business to run, a side hustle or whatever, right? So you can't, because you have to do your work and you also have to do your business. So there is no work-life balance. So again, you know, if that's the type of situation you're in, that's just a sacrifice you have to make. And you know, I don't know, that decision is something you have to be okay with. That's just what you have to sacrifice, like, because the more you work, the more you're likely to succeed, right? So you know, you can have a life of balance, but the question here is, do you want a life of balance but no meaningful progress in that sense, or are you ready to give it all for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then at the end of it, you're in a position where you never have to work again, you know? For example, if that's your ambition, then, you know, there's a chance that you could be in that position. So, you know, or you could spend those 10, 15 years having good work-life balance, but at the end of 10, 15 years, you still have about 20, 30 years to retirement to go because, you know, you haven't reached that level where you can kind of just have a big exit because you had work-life balance, but you didn't have the time to make something that was meaningful, meaningful scale. So, you know, what do you guys think? Is work-life balance important to you? I guess my own personal thoughts on this is I don't really believe in it like that. When I decided I wanted to be in business and an entrepreneur, I think I just innately knew that this is going to require all of my time and attention, and I was okay with that. Like, I'm okay with missing stuff. I'm okay with this, you know, getting my stuff done, focusing on business, doing what I need to do. That's completely fine with me. So I'm willing to make that sacrifice, you know. So I don't really get FOMO, stuff like that usually. So because I know that I've actually made this decision to, you know, spend my time doing this stuff that needs to get done. So yeah, what do you guys think? What are your views on work-life balance? Let me know in the comments. Sweet.